Okay, so think about this. What if your greatest untapped potential, right, lies not really in your muscles, but actually in your mind? We tend to think peak performance is all physical, like endless drills, perfecting technique, hours in the gym.
Right, that's the standard view.
But what if there's this whole other dimension that we're just, completely overlooking?
That's exactly what we're going to unpack in this deep dive today. We're stepping into the really fascinating world of sports psychology and its critical link, often misunderstood, I should say, to physical activity and just general mental well-being.
Misunderstood how? Like people just think it's positive thinking.
Yeah, or that it's not real science. It's a field still, kind of riddled with myths and misconceptions.
It really speaks to a struggle, I think, that so many of us know. Maybe you're an athlete, maybe not. You feel sharp, you practice incredibly well, things are clicking. But then the pressure hits.
Yeah.
Big game, maybe a crucial presentation at work or a high-stakes negotiation, and you just kind of crumble.
Right. The performance doesn't match the practice.
Exactly. Why does that happen?
Yeah.
And more importantly, how do you, fix it?
Well, that breakdown often stems directly from the mental side of performance.
The part we overlook.
The part that's frequently overlooked, yeah. You can have all the physical talent in the world, truly, but if your mind isn't aligned, if it's working against you, that talent simply won't translate when it counts.
So it's like a hidden variable.
It really is. It's the hidden variable that can make or break your performance.
Okay, so if the mind is that hidden variable, what's the cutting edge way to unlock it?
Well, that brings us neatly to our source for this deep dive.
Right.
It's a firm called Inside Athlete's Mind, and they run something called the Advanced Sports Lab.
Inside Athlete's Mind.
Okay. And they're pretty groundbreaking because they're directly challenging those old notions we just talked about.
How so?
They're pioneering this really unique analytics-driven approach. It combines mental fitness and biomechanics.
Analytics-driven, so like data?
Exactly. Data on both sides. Their core belief isn't just some catchy slogan. It's fundamental to what they do. Your brain can do more than you think.
Huh.
Yeah.
I like that. Your brain can do more than you think.
Yeah. They're essentially proving that true mastery, peak performance, it comes from integrating both sides of the coin.
The physical and the psychological.
Yes, and not just talking about it, but integrating them in a precise, data-driven way. It's not theoretical for them.
Okay, so our mission for you, the listener, today is basically to give you a shortcut.
Right.
A shortcut to understanding how this kind of holistic approach, mind and body together, can unlock, unparalleled performance.
And let's be really clear here. This isn't just for, elite professional athletes.
Right. They're not just Olympians.
No. It applies to really any high-stakes situation you might be facing. Could be on the sports field, sure, but also in the boardroom or even just working towards your personal goals.
So when we talk about how sports psychology actually helps, what are we really digging into?
We're really talking about that deep connection between your mental well-being and your physical activity.
Okay.
Psychologists in this field, they work with athletes not just to perform at a super high level, but also to develop these really essential emotional skills.
Like what?
Things like teamwork, self-regulation, managing your emotions, and resilience, bouncing back from setbacks.
And those skills obviously help outside of sports too.
Absolutely. They extend far beyond the playing field into everyday life.
So tell me more about this advanced sports lab. You said it's where the magic happens.
Yeah, you could say that because it's not about just generalized advice or these one-size-fits-all strategies you might read online.
Okay.
They conduct a really complete analysis or analytics, as they call it, of an athlete, looking at both their mental fitness and their biomechanics.
Biomechanics, you mentioned that before.
Yeah.
What exactly does that involve in this context, like how your body moves?
Yeah, in simple terms, biomechanics is the science of how your body moves and functions most efficiently. So, in the lab, they're analyzing every subtle angle, every force generated, every movement pattern to really optimize the physical side of performance.
Okay, super detailed.
Very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for the mental fitness part, imagine getting a similarly precise, data-driven picture, but of the inner workings of your mental game.
What does data-driven mental fitness actually look like, though? How do you measure that?
Well, they might measure things like your reaction times under pressure, for instance.
Okay.
Or track your eye movements during specific focus exercises. They could even analyze your physiological responses, heart rate, skin conductance during, say, visualized stressful scenarios.
Wow. So it's not guesswork.
Not at all. It's about pinpointing your exact mental strengths and, just as importantly, your weaknesses using hard numbers.
Yeah.
Data.
That sounds incredibly practical. So this approach, it directly tackles that common problem we mentioned earlier. Practicing great, but struggling in competition.
It absolutely does. That's one of his core strengths.
So what specific mental challenges do they typically zoom in on?
Inside athletes' mind, they tend to break down these challenges into 6 key areas they work on with athletes.
6 areas. Okay, what are they?
They focus on fear management.
Like handling nerves.
Exactly. How you cope with those butterflies before a big moment. Then there's focus, maintaining that laser-sharp attention despite distractions. Also, nervousness control, which is related but distinct. Willpower, or mental toughness. Vision, having clarity on what you want to achieve. And finally, setting effective goals, both short-term and long-term.
Wow, that's comprehensive. Fear, focus, nerves, willpower, vision, goals.
Right. And these areas, they're all interconnected, of course, but the training is tailored to each athlete's unique profile based on that initial analysis.
It really sounds like they have a system for everything. Their training method you mentioned is rooted in cognitive and behavioral skills training.
Yes, exactly. CBT, essentially, applied to sports performance.
Can you break that down just quickly? Cognitive and behavioral?
Sure. So, essentially, they teach athletes how to consciously reshape their thought patterns. That's the cognitive part.
Okay. Changing how you think.
Right. And also how to change their automatic reactions or habits. That's the behavioral part, especially in response to pressure.
So you're not just reacting on instinct, which might be unhelpful.
Precisely. It's almost like rewriting the script in their minds, the internal dialogue, for those high-stakes moments.
What kind of techniques do they use for that?
Oh, several powerful techniques. Things like imagery or visualization, where you mentally rehearse performing perfectly.
I've heard of that.
It's very effective. And also performance planning, which gives athletes really concrete tools and strategies to manage their inner world, their thoughts and feelings, to achieve their goals.
And the results? Well, they seem pretty compelling.
They really do.
We heard from Arunjit Mandal, a cricketer. He was consistently struggling with batting issues, getting good starts but not converting them. He described how, after meeting Afnan Aslam, we'll talk more about him later, and working with Inside Athlete's Mind, he gained, and I quote, mental stability and clarity.
And that directly impacted his score.
Directly led to improving his scores, yeah. It's about getting past those internal roadblocks, isn't it?
It really is. And it's not just about the athletes themselves either. The impact ripples outwards.
How so?
We also heard from parents, Sanjeev and Moon Dutta. They saw tangible development of our child through sports psychology, and they specifically noted it would be beneficial in, quote, every aspect of life.
That's huge. So it's a broader transformative impact.
Exactly. It goes beyond just the immediate sports performance. It builds life skills.
And impressively, it seems their approach is adaptable, even for individuals facing significant cognitive or developmental challenges.
That's right. There was Rohit Chakraborty, who found 100% recommend support from Inside Athlete's Mind for challenges described as mental retardation and weakness.
That's remarkable. What kind of support do they offer in those cases?
It's highly personalized. Things like one-on-one counseling, specific mindset coaching, sometimes group motivation sessions. And they emphasize regular mental exercises to maintain focus and build those skills consistently.
But as you said earlier, it's not just the mind, is it? They put a strong emphasis on the physical side, too.
Oh, absolutely. Biomechanics and basic fundamentals are core pillars for Inside Athlete's Mind.
Why the focus on fundamentals? Isn't that, basic?
You'd think so, but their extensive experience over decades has shown them that many athletes actually face challenges mastering fundamental skills correctly and using correct biomechanics. And these physical limitations, maybe a flaw in technique or inefficient movement, they directly impact potential.
Probably confidence, too, I imagine.
Exactly. If you know your technique is shaky, it undermines your self-confidence, which feeds back into the mental game. It's all linked.
So they really do take that holistic view. They analyze each athlete thoroughly.
Yes, which allows them to spot these issues and make necessary corrections swiftly and effectively.
Does that include things like reflexes?
It does. They even offer advanced reflex training, but it's designed specifically for the individual athlete, always based on their unique biomechanics.
It really is about performing at your absolute peak by getting the physical foundation just as right as the mental game.
That's the core idea, optimizing both in tandem.
So who is the visionary behind this unique blend of mental and physical training? You mentioned Afnan Aslam earlier.
That's him, Afnan Aslam. He's not just a sports consultant, he's also a Masters Commonwealth player himself.
Oh, wow. So he's lived it.
Lived it and achieved at a high level. He's the founder of Inside Athlete's Mind. And he brings, get this, over 30 years of experience across a huge range of diverse sports.
30 years? What kind of sports?
Well, he has state, national, and even corporate medals under his belt. His expertise isn't just theoretical.
Right. And his work has been recognized too, hasn't it?
Yes, quite significantly. He's received 2 HRD India Awards for Excellence in Leader in Sports Psychology. These were in association with the Economic Times, so quite prestigious.
That's impressive. What's truly remarkable, I think, is his universal track record. You said diverse sports.
Absolutely. He's mentored athletes successfully in everything from, the expected ones like cricket and table tennis to things like chess, gymnastics, even bodybuilding.
Chess. That really highlights the mental aspect.
It certainly does. He guides athletes right from the grassroots level all the way up to international acclaim.
And how does he manage that diversity?
By always providing a custom plan for every single individual. No cookie-cutter approaches, and then meticulously tracking their progress with data.
That level of personalized attention and the data-driven insight, that sounds like what really sets Inside Athlete's Mind apart.
I think that's fair to say, yes. It distinguishes them in the field.
So let's bring this together for the listener, whether you're, say, an aspiring player struggling with performing in tournaments.
That classic practice versus game issue.
Right. Or maybe you're a seasoned athlete just looking to break through a plateau you've hit.
Or even a parent just seeking the best possible guidance for your child's athletic journey, and maybe their life skills too.
What we've seen today from Inside Athlete's Mind really points to a clear path forward, doesn't it?
It does. The message is that true performance elevation, getting to that next level, it comes from training both the mind and the body together.
Understanding your unique mechanics.
Yes, your biomechanics, and also unlocking your full mental potential.
And this applies far beyond just competitive sports, right? We touched on this.
Absolutely. These principles apply to challenges in business, in academics, or frankly, any significant personal goal you might have set for yourself.
It comes back to that core belief they have.
Your brain truly can do more than you think. It's about learning how to access that potential.
So a final thought to leave you with as you listen. After exploring how the mind and body are so intricately linked in sports, maybe ask yourself, what aspect of your own daily performance, perhaps it's giving a presentation, or handling a tough negotiation, or even just focusing on a personal project. What aspect could benefit from a similar deep dive?
A deep dive into your own mental and physical strategies for that specific challenge.
Exactly. Where could understanding both sides unlock something new for you?
It's a powerful question. And if you want to learn more about this specific cutting-edge approach we discussed today,
where should people go?
The place to look is their website, sportspsychology.co.in.
sportspsychology.co.in.
Hey, yeah, you'll find more information there about their advanced sports lab, Afnan Aslam's work, and how you might access their personalized training plans.